After watching this video, you will know how to 3D model architectural details in Blender without using any extra add-ins nor modifiers. I'll explain the best practices for creating window and floor openings together with the interior walls. This video is part of my interior visualization course in Blender, which is available for free on my channel. The videos are slow-paced, so everyone can follow them. You can find a complete playlist with all the other videos linked in the description below. If you want to access all of the project files and support what I do, I share more info on that at the end of this video. Anyway, my name is Lech and welcome to my interior visualization course in Blender. Hi everyone, in this video we're gonna add the most significant details to our 3D scene, and since there are many of them, let's just jump into it. So I will start working with my floor slab for the ground floor. So I'm gonna select the main drawings and the element, and I'm gonna hide everything else. So as you can see, this is what we are gonna work on. And by switching to wireframe mode, I can see we need to cut out an opening here in this floor slab so we can let those stairs here go down. Yeah, I'm just gonna do it in edit mode, but I want you to see one thing now. As you can see, our geometry is nice and tidy, but what happens if we simply fill this space, as happens quite often in other people's projects? So what I'm talking about is selecting the opening we have like here with those many vertices available and just pressing Alt F key in order to fill the space with the new faces. So it looks good in the object mode, but when you go to the edit mode and you have to cut an opening like we are planning to do right now, it becomes quite problematic because the geometry looks like this, as you can see. And some of you, I guess, can say, like, did you know there is a Boolean modifier in Blender that helps you with those kind of situations? And my answer is yes, I know, but I think I have a good reasons not to use a Boolean modifier for this kind of geometry, and I'm gonna talk about it a little bit more in the next video, but for now let's just do an old school poly modeling and simply cut out this opening by hand. Doing that is actually pretty simple, so we just go to the edit mode and I'm gonna press Ctrl R to add an edge loop. As you can see, when I move it towards this border of the object, it changes its angle. So I'm just gonna apply the operation here. Now I'm gonna press S, then X and 0 to straighten up this line. I'm gonna move it somewhere around this edge and I'm gonna create a new edge loop here. Now we need to add two more. So this one will go somewhere here, and this one here. We will leave this little gap in here. We'll see how it looks later. And now I'm gonna simply delete those two faces. Gonna switch to the edge selection mode, select these two edges, press F, then F again and again and again to fill this hole in here. So you can see, actually, I didn't have to use a Boolean to have a very clean, nice looking mesh, which can be now, sorry for that, edited very well, very cleanly, without messing up, without the need to use a separate object to cut out this hole. And yeah, but this is only possible when we have a clean geometry as the one you can see. So you might be getting right now why I'm not using 3D models delivered by the BIM applications, because the geometry delivered by them, it's usually very messy when we enter the edit mode, and the only way to actually do this basic modeling is by using the modifiers. So we are not gonna stick to that method. We are gonna use the traditional old school modeling techniques. And yeah, let's see what we can change now. I think we could start adjusting the walls a little bit more, but the thing is we have everything merged into a single mesh like this. And since we are going to be focusing on the ground floor, I'm going to press B and select those faces only, and now separate them to a different object. So yeah, let's now hide the other elements and let's focus on the walls from the ground floor. By the way, as you can see, I also cleaned up the object origins a little bit so they are not flying around the scene. I would suggest doing the same. Just select everything, go to the object set origin, or right click and you have the same options here. And let's now see what we can do with the walls. I'm gonna hide the floor slab. Oops, sorry for that. Yeah, this is the floor. And this is our wall layout. Actually, there aren't that many details we have to work on. The ground floor is quite open, and the main areas we have to work on are those window openings and this area here. So let's start with it. I'm gonna enter the edit mode and create 2 new edges here. Let's go to the top view now and scale them like this, so those vertices reach those corner points here. I can now select those 2 faces and extrude them like this and like that again. I could delete those faces now. I'm just thinking. Yeah, let's just keep going this way for now. And yeah, let's delete those faces and fill this area with the new geometry. I'm just checking. And I would separate those newly created elements from the main geometry. I won't be saving it to a new mesh. So I'm just gonna select all of the faces and press Y key. This separates the geometry from the main object. I'm gonna hide it and just fill those spaces here. As you can see, the walls, they don't have the upper faces. The reason for that is we simply separated this object from the top and cellar floors. And I don't think there is a reason to do this for cycles. If we were using Eevee, then that could be, that should happen. We should fill those faces, I guess, because then the light calculates better. I think, at least that's my experience. But anyway, as you can see, I've created this opening from bottom to top, because from the section of the building, I think this is what's happening here. We just have this window and this divider here. But with this opening, the situation is a bit different, so we need to create 2 new edge loops. So I'm gonna just hide this part of the wall, switch to the wireframe, press Ctrl R, and align the edges to this opening. I think I can cut it right now. And again, you can see we are able to do this very nicely just in the edit mode without the need of adding any modifiers or any unnecessary stuff that just messes, makes the scene way less readable. So right now, I think that's it for the ground floor. Let's unhide everything and see how it looks. Yeah, I think we are getting somewhere with it. Let's now go to the first floor and see what happens with this floor slab. When looking at the floor layout of the first floor of the building, we can see it gets much more complicated. These are the details we won't be focusing on that much because we won't visualize those rooms. But what's interesting is the way the wall goes here in this area. So you can see this corner appearing here and this niche we have here, and that means we will have to adjust our floor slab and change the walls a little bit so they match this drawing better. To do that, we will have to add another drawing to our scene, so the process will be exactly the same as we did with the floor plan, as we did with the section of the building. So I'm just gonna speed up the video and return back to you once it's done. As you can see, there is a little mismatch of the drawings in this area. So I'm just gonna fake it a little bit, scaling the drawing in the y-axis so it matches the floor plan. But I'm gonna leave this corner as it is. I won't be scaling it in this direction because this also changes the angle, as you can see, of the upper floor. Okay, so with the first floor drawing added, I will now select it and just move a little bit up so it doesn't block the floor plan, the ground floor plan. Yes, let's do it like this and change the opacity to 0.5. I will now unhide everything, select the first floor slab, then select the drawing, hide everything else, and move it down once more so it more or less matches our geometry. So now with the top view selected, I will start with cutting the opening here for the stairs and then adjusting this area here. As you can see, I've decided to leave this little element here just because I'm not sure at this point if we are gonna need it on the final building or if the walls of the building will just cover this section here. So, but if I delete it, then I might have problems with recreating this nice angle here. So I'm just leaving it for now. And the next step, I will start modeling the walls here. This area, from what I can see, is open for the window. So we will create this wall layout and possibly some very basic walls here in the interior, just so we have better shadows and illumination later. We will start by hiding all of the unnecessary elements, and this will be, well, everything except the newly added drawing and the wall layout. I'm gonna enter the edit mode right now, select the bottom walls and separate them. Let's just set up the origin points to the newly created meshes and hide the bottom one. So let's now start editing and see what we can do from here. Well, I will just move these faces here so they are aligned a little bit better. And I will delete those two edge loops here since we don't need them. Now we need to create this wall which is here on the side, so I will start by creating an edge loop and as you can see, when I'm moving it towards left, the angle of the edge loop changes. So when I reach to the maximum point, I just accept it. And now if I just move it by using the gizmo, you can see the angle stays the same. So this is a cool trick if you want to align the angle of a newly created edge loop to the surface. So let's just select this face now and extrude it downwards like this. I'm just gonna move it so it matches this edge here. I'm gonna switch to the vertices and select just these two. And when I press G once, you can see we can obviously move selection around, but when I press G again, you can see we are actually moving along the edges. And the problem is, you can see I would like to go this way, but my transformation changes the direction and goes this way. And to move my selection this way, I just need to press Alt key. And you can see now this yellow line is drawn in the viewport and we can move our selection very precisely. So let's select all of the vertices here again and extrude along the X like that. Let's just now scale the selection to 0. So S, X and 0, and we can continue extruding our geometry. I will skip these elements here, just include the openings, so maybe we need them later. And I'm just gonna continue till I reach this wall here. I'm gonna enter the perspective view again, extrude again, and yeah, let's think what we can do here. So I'll just quickly jump to this side of the wall right now. I'm just gonna add a new edge loop and extrude this face so it follows the general wall layout. Yeah, I extruded it by mistake, but that's not a problem. Let's just select those vertices and move them up a little bit. Now I'm gonna select this face again and extrude it in this direction. So in order to align those pieces together, you might want to use a snap tool, but if we don't have to be super precise, I prefer simply selecting the vertices and scaling them to 0, as you can see I'm doing here. So we still didn't match them correctly. Let's select this row of vertices and scale them within the y-axis. And we can now move this entire selection like that. We can now just extrude this face in the y-axis, go to the top view, wireframe view again, switch to the vertices and scale them to 0 again. So all we need to do right now is just removing the doubles. So I'm selecting everything, right clicking and clicking remove doubles, but please remember you need to be in the vertex mode, because in the edge or face mode that option is not visible here. So remove doubles, and don't forget to remove those inner faces here, which might cause some shading bugs sometimes. Yeah. Okay, so we have our wall layout. Let's now just double check if it matches the newly created floor slab, and let's clean up any bugs we might encounter on that level. With the floor slab revealed, we can see the geometry isn't perfectly aligned here, and it's up to you actually to decide if we are gonna align those two vertices of the floor slab to this corner here, or should we move the entire wall so it matches the geometry of a floor slab. I think unless you're doing super precise visualizations, this really, the only thing that matters is which goes faster. And I think in our case, this will be definitely aligning those vertices to the wall. So now I'm gonna use a snap tool. And so I'm changing the snapping position to vertices. I'm gonna press G, hold Control, and sometimes you might need to press Shift Z just to be sure your snapping is limited to those X and Y axes, so the selection doesn't move upwards. Now I'm gonna press Control key, and you can see the snapping. Those vertices are now perfectly aligned. We just need to align those two as well, because if we enter the edit mode, you can see we lost an angle here. So let's just move those two vertices within the Y axis. So I'm pressing G, Y, and now I'm holding Control again. So they are not aligning. So maybe we need to go to the perspective view, G, Y, and okay, let's select an edge here. So now it's gonna work definitely. So we are just aligning those two vertices to the edge here. Yeah, and I forgot because we have no vertices here, obviously. So we need to align this selection to this exact edge I have selected right now. Anyway, when we look from the top view, when we look from the wireframe view, it seems that everything is now perfectly aligned in this area. The only thing left at this point will be solving this situation I mentioned a few minutes ago. So should we leave this element or not? And as you can see, when we go to the object mode, this stands out of the wall a little bit, which is not good. But if I select just these two walls, you can see these are actually aligned pretty good. I can go to the look depth view, so this shiny effect is visible, and we can see there is nothing, no edge or any other piece of geometry popping up, as we can see right now. So long story short, I will simply delete those four vertices here and fill this face here. So it now, yeah. So the wall is now perfectly straight, even though we have them as two separate objects. I would say at this point we are basically done with the crucial geometry parts of the building. You can see it's still far from being final, but in the next video we're gonna move to the secondary details and blocking out the main, let's say, actors of the scene, which will be the kitchen equipment here, the stairs here, and some other details. So we will still try to get as much as possible from the drawings we've added to the scene, and after that we will actually start detailing and doing the let's say the real stuff. So in the next video I'm gonna show you how we can still enhance our basic scene with those elements you can see here, for example, or in the drawings like this one. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, if you want to support what I do and get access to all of the project files created with the chorus together with the interior scenes, hundreds and thousands of Blender exclusive 3D assets, just visit Chocofur store and check out our subscription plans. These truly are the best money can get you if you want to get better at Blender. Thanks again for watching, and I see you in another video. Bye bye.